Mud handprints cover the walls of the underground garage in Baoji, Emerald City. Post-disaster video is shocking. Third Plenum's fiscal reforms evasive. Xi Jinping frowns over accounts. China's first airline goes bankrupt post-pandemic. Planes auctioned multiple times without buyers. Chinese youth flock to Fuxin to buy second-hand homes for 20,000 to 30,000 yuan each.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Mud handprints cover the walls of the underground garage in Baoji, Emerald City. Post-disaster video is shocking. In Shanxi Province's Baoji City, the high-end residential area known as Emerald City experienced a catastrophic flood in its underground garage due to heavy rainfall and the simultaneous discharge of water from multiple reservoirs located around and upstream of Baoji City. On July 22, a video surfaced on X platform showing the aftermath of the devastating flood in the underground parking garage of the Emerald City. The footage shows the garage entrance and exit completely blocked by mud-caked vehicles, suggesting numerous car owners tried and failed to escape the rising waters. Their fate remains unknown. Inside, the floodwater line nearly reaches the ceiling, and countless muddy handprints stain the upper walls and ceiling. The netizen who posted the video expressed their heartbreak, saying, "I can't fathom the desperation of those who lost their lives." The YouTube channel Real China reposted the video of rescue efforts in Emerald City's underground garage following a flood, and also revealed the tragic events that occurred in the underground garage. As the flood approached, Emerald City's property management instructed homeowners to move their cars within the garage. However, the flood escalated rapidly, inundating the garage with water and debris. The swiftly rising waters trapped residents, who frantically searched for exits amid sounds of panic and car alarms. Many tried to escape by car or through emergency exits, but found their paths blocked or exits locked, leading to numerous people going missing in the disaster. A netizen shared online that her son tragically lost his life in the flood. She wrote, "My son had even found the emergency exit, but it was locked. I can't bear to think of how helpless he must have felt. He was only 34 years old." In the aftermath, the property management of Emerald City offered an explanation for their decision. Having multiple doors and entry/exit points increased the risk of theft, thus compromising the security of the community. To mitigate this risk, they opted to lock the emergency exits within the garage. According to the media outlet, Emerald City is a sizable, upscale residential complex located in Baoji City. The underground garage boasts a ceiling height of approximately 3.5 meters and accommodates over 500 vehicles. It was designed with emergency escape routes and equipped with a state-of-the-art surveillance and security system. In response to the news, one netizen commented that residents of such an affluent community could never have anticipated that a flash flood would transform their modern parking garage into a burial ground for car owners. This tragic incident attracted a discussion on social media, with comments such as, "Living in China can truly be likened to playing an extreme survival game," or "There is a country where citizens can't safeguard their own land, wealth, homes, dignity, or jobs, not to mention their organs, savings, freedom to choose their attire, or even their escape routes." Yet, they unwaveringly defend the ruling party. This nation aims to militarily unify Taiwan, occupy Japan, defeat the USA, and dominate the globe. Floods sweep through half of China, major flooding in Xinjiang. Chinese media report that on July 15, sudden torrential rains in Tailik Township, Wuxia County, Xinjiang, led to devastating flash floods. These floods carried debris flows that swept rescue vehicles into the river, killing 5 rescue workers. Numerous videos circulating online depict landslides, debris flows, and flash floods disrupting roads and bridges, destroying homes, and sweeping away vehicles, creating shocking scenes. In many areas, disaster victims are isolated from the outside world and face difficult situations. Additionally, videos have recently surfaced online showing flooding in Chifeng, Inner Mongolia. The footage depicts a torrent of yellow, debris-filled water surging into what appears to be a long dry riverbed. Netizens have expressed shock and concern over these unusual weather events. One commented, "I've never heard of major flooding in Inner Mongolia in my life." Another stated, "Even Inner Mongolia can experience flooding, half of mainland China is soaked."
Third Plenum's fiscal reforms evasive, Xi Jinping frowns over accounts. The 20th Third Plenary Session of the Chinese Communist Party has wrapped up, drawing mixed reactions. Observers have ironically dubbed it an utterly unprecedented event. One investor expressed confusion, stating, "After reading it, I still don't know what to do." Another commented more sarcastically, "After reading, the only thing left to do is applaud." State-controlled media and party-aligned newspapers lavished praise on the session, emphasizing that under the leadership and strategic guidance of CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping, the plenum was dedicated to further deepening reforms comprehensively and advancing Chinese-style modernization. Yet, providing actual strategies or methods to achieve these ambitious objectives seems nearly impossible. At the local level, governments are looking forward to anticipating financial and tax reforms. They are hopeful that the central government will relax fiscal policies to boost local revenues, especially as they grapple with ongoing financial pressures. The People's Daily, a mouthpiece for the CCP, recently emphasized the need for austerity in an article urging local governments to prioritize fiscal prudence. It advocated for including expenditures on official overseas visits, vehicles, and receptions, known as three public funds, among other general expenditures, as essential criteria in the quarterly fiscal assessments of central departments. The article highlighted the necessity for all levels of government, from central to local, to engage in strict budgeting to curb excessive spending and address the fiscal deficit. In response, the Jiangsu Provincial Bureau of Government Offices issued 10 measures for Suzhou to deepen implementation of austerity requirements for CCP and government agencies. These measures include extending the service life of official vehicles to at least 10 years and auctioning off idle properties. If even prosperous Suzhou is tightening its belt, the fiscal situation in other provinces and prefecture-level cities is likely dire, necessitating local governments to urgently seek new revenue sources. Among China's four major taxes, the consumption tax stands out as the only one not yet shared between central and local governments, making it a prime candidate for reform. This tax targets the turnover of consumer goods and in 2023 generated 1.61 trillion yuan, approximately $222 billion in revenue, accounting for 8.9% of total tax revenue, following only value-added tax, 38.3%, and corporate income tax, 22.7%. Historically levied at the production stage and collected by local tax authorities, this revenue flows entirely to the central government. The consumption tax has been modified multiple times since its inception in 1994, with significant reforms in 2006, 2008, and 2014. Despite these changes, the revenue it generates is merely a drop in the ocean for local governments overwhelmed by debt. As of May 2024, the balance of local government debt across the nation stood at 42.38 trillion yuan, about $5.8 trillion USD, compounded by substantial hidden debt acquired through non-official channels like financing platforms and not reflected in official statistics. Estimates of this hidden debt range from 50 to 70 trillion yuan, from $6.9 trillion to $9.6 trillion USD. With local financing platforms facing an average debt cost of 5 to 6%, local governments must annually allocate over 3 trillion yuan, approximately $413 billion for interest payments on hidden debt, surpassing 30% of their budgeted revenue. While land sales historically masked this debt risk, the recent real estate downturn has drastically reduced land transfer revenues, tightening local fiscal resources and exposing the underlying debt risk. In 2023, national land transfer revenue was about 5.8 trillion yuan, about $799 billion down 14% from the previous year, following a 23% decrease in 2022 to 6.7 trillion yuan, about $923 billion. For fiscal account books, Xi Jinping's furrowed brow. China's economy is sputtering, with a real estate crisis, deepening deflation, and skyrocketing local government debt. Making matters worse, the CCP is cracking down on foreign investment under the guise of national security, while tightening its grip on domestic finance and data flows. All signs point to a regime doubling down on misguided policies at breakneck speed. The General Secretary of Acceleration and his cronies seem desperate to cling to power, even if it means isolating the country. Meanwhile, life within the CCP system is growing increasingly precarious. There is a common saying in mainland China, money isn't everything, but without it, nothing is possible. This likely reflects Xi Jinping's true sentiments. Internationally, he needs funds to splash cash on winning over foreign government officials and businesses. Domestically, substantial funds are crucial for securing the support of the military, princelings, and revolutionary descendants, as well as for managing public stability. Xi Jinping's increasing consolidation of power marks a shift from the previous faction-based influence. Now, local officials perceive a definite limit to their career advancement, with dim prospects for those not aligned with the Xi faction. Recent moves to centralize fiscal authority mean that without financial incentives, local officials may adopt a passive attitude, leading to neglect and inactivity. Reports of disruptions in local government-funded public services like transportation occasionally surface, indicating systemic issues. The CCP categorizes its fiscal revenues into four main accounts, ordered from the largest to smallest: the General Public Budget, Government-Managed Funds Budget, National Social Insurance Funds Budget, and State-Owned Capital Operating Budget. The General Public Budget mainly consists of tax revenues from a wide and often vague range of taxes paid by all Chinese citizens. The Government-Managed Funds Budget primarily relies on revenues from the sale of state-owned land use rights, serving as the main source of income from local government land sales. The National Social Insurance Funds are made up of contributions from both employers and individuals for critical services like health insurance and pensions, which the CCP counts as revenue. The State-Owned Capital Operating Budget gathers revenues from the activities of state-owned enterprises, asset sales, transfers from the public finance budget, and other incomes. Its key function is to support the general public budget by redirecting profits and investment returns from state enterprises to the central finances. The erstwhile zero-COVID policy severely drained financial resources, particularly impacting local governments engaged in unsustainable fiscal practices. Local government revenues are primarily derived from three sources: regular taxation, central fiscal transfers, and proceeds from land sales. At present, central fiscal transfers extend only to the provincial level. With the pandemic slowing economic growth, provincial revenues are diminishing, thereby reducing their ability to make further transfers to municipal levels. In his third term, Xi Jinping's firm hold on power highlights the grave consequences of fiscal shortfalls. Tight days are more than just talk. Who would follow his orders without financial support? Standing on the CCP's battered ship, riddled with holes and on the verge of sinking, he still attempts to embark on a new century-long voyage for the CCP? Over the past decade, Xi Jinping has continuously rolled out massive projects and grand strategies, personally overseeing and directing everything from the Belt and Road Initiative to the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and from the trillion yuan chip initiative to the grandiose Xiong'an New Area project. These projects, lacking sound planning and effective oversight, have absorbed vast sums of money, only to either lose steam or become mired in corruption, ending up as burdensome failures. For instance, in October 2020, the state-run magazine Outlook News Weekly reported that 6 semiconductor projects, each worth tens of billions of yuan, had stalled, raising industry concerns about a wave of failed projects and the resulting loss of state assets. Moreover, the previous excessive spending by CCP leader Jiang Zemin has depleted the national treasury, adding to Xi Jinping's worries.
China's first airline goes bankrupt post-pandemic, planes auctioned multiple times without buyers. Yoha Daotong Airlines from mainland China has declared bankruptcy. This was the first bankruptcy declaration of a domestic airline in China following the COVID-19 pandemic and the first since the bankruptcy and liquidation of Jade Cargo International in 2012. On July 21, one of its Airbus A300 aircraft was listed for auction on the JD.com platform. However, after 2 days without any bids, the auction was declared unsuccessful. Previously, Yoha Daotong Airlines had also attempted to sell two 747 aircraft on the JD platform, both of which failed to sell after being auctioned twice. Established in 2008, Yoha Daotong Airlines was headquartered at Wuhan Tianhe International Airport, with additional operational bases in cities such as Shenzhen, Kunming, and Tianjin. The company was primarily engaged in air freight services and had once operated a fleet of 13 large and medium-sized cargo aircraft. In March of this year, the Civil Court of Huangpi District in Wuhan, Hubei Province, issued a civil ruling officially declaring Yoha Daotong Airlines bankrupt. Prior to the outbreak of the pandemic in 2019, several of Yoha Daotong Airlines cargo planes had already been grounded. The airline had planned to resume operations in April 2020, but its financial difficulties remained unresolved. Negotiations for financing and restructuring with various entities, including JD.com, China Merchants Group, and other domestic and international businesses as well as local governments, failed. The airline was unable to secure the necessary startup capital required to restart its flights. Since June of this year, Yoha Daotong Airlines has been auctioning its land, property, and aircraft assets on the JD platform. Despite several auction attempts, no bids were placed on 3 of the aircraft, and preparations are currently being made for a third auction attempt. The ongoing economic downturn in China has affected various industries, including the aviation sector. Recently, several listed Chinese airlines have issued their mid-year performance forecasts for 2024, all indicating ongoing losses. Air China expects a net loss of approximately 2.3 billion yuan to 3 billion yuan, approximately $413 million, for the first half of the year. China Eastern Airlines anticipates a net loss ranging from 2.4 billion yuan to 2.9 billion yuan. China Southern Airlines estimates a net loss between 1.06 billion yuan and 1.58 billion yuan, approximately $218 million. Hainan Airlines projects a net loss of 600 million yuan to 670 million yuan, from $83 million to $92.2 million USD.
Chinese youth flock to Fuxin to buy second-hand homes for 20,000 to 30,000 yuan each. Following Hegang in Heilongjiang Province, Fuxin in Liaoning has also become a city favored by young Chinese people for its low housing prices. With a population of less than 2 million, Fuxin holds the position of having the lowest GDP in Liaoning Province. Historically reliant on coal mining, the city experienced significant economic setbacks as coal resources depleted, leading to a situation known as mining depletion and urban decline. Officially recognized in 2001 by the State Council as the country's first resource-exhausted city, Fuxin saw many of its younger residents relocating to larger cities due to economic decline. However, in recent years, the city's low-priced second-hand homes have gained popularity on social media, attracting many young people who are not interested in marriage or childbearing to move there for retirement and a laid-back lifestyle. For example, Lu, who had previously worked in Guangzhou and Beijing, decided not to return to her hometown to avoid pressure from her parents to marry. While living in these major cities, she shared accommodations, which were not only expensive but also mixed gender, making her feel insecure. The high housing prices in Guangzhou and Beijing, which reached tens of thousands of yuan per square meter, were unaffordable on her modest salary of just a few thousand yuan per month. Searching online for more affordable options, Lu discovered Fuxin, promoted by many self-media influencers as a place worth settling down for a laid-back life. She spent 35,000 yuan, about $4,819 to buy a 50 square meter, second-hand home on the second floor of a retired cadre's family compound. This home, over 20 years old and located just a wall away from Fuxin South Station with a nearby morning market only a 2 to 3 minute walk away, was considered a bargain. According to several real estate agents in Fuxin, the low-priced second-hand homes typically range from 50 to 70 square meters, with the lowest prices between 20,000 and 30,000 yuan, about $2,754 to $4,130. Starting from 2022, there has been a surge in young single people from other places coming to Fuxin to buy homes, with most buyers working in relatively free professions and hailing mainly from Hebei and Hunan. The influx of young people not interested in marriage or childbearing buying homes in Fuxin has sparked lively discussions online. It's a place worth buying a home for retirement. Another said, regardless, at least there's a place to live without being a slave to a mortgage. We are born free, but life is full of trivial burdens. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.